I'm Myke Shrews,
And I'm Tivis,
and you're listening to
the Munster Cast.
episode 66. Welcome back, everybody, to the Munster Cast, the podcast where we watch and talk about the Munsters. I am, of course, your host, Myke Shrews, here with my co-host and friend, Tivis. So, Tivis, please tell everybody in the world how you doing today, dude?
I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome.
How you doing?
I'm all right. I got a little sore throat, so that energy burst right there of me talking was probably gonna be it. I'm drinking some hot tea, so if I drop it on myself and I walk out of the room screaming and cussing, yeah, that's why I burnt myself.
I got Kool-Aid.
All right, guys. Real quick, get to the dirty business. You can find the Munster Cast on all social media platforms. That is Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all via the Munster Cast. You can also find us on the YouTube at youtube.com/@TheMunsterCast to see our pretty ugly faces every Munster Monday. You can also go over to TheMunsterCast.com and check out our content, everything in one place. Videos, audio, articles, everything, sponsor page, all that fun stuff, guys. You can also go over there and click on the merch tab, or just go to themunstercast.com/merch. You get an awesome Munsters themed t-shirt for yourself. All these shirts are designed specifically for all y'all Munster fans out there. You can also go over to email us at themunstercast@outlook.com. Over there, you can send us all your Munster stories, your why you became a Munsters fan in the first place, all that fun stuff, or just to get onto the show, guys. So just let us know anything Munsters related over there. Please no, weird things. Lastly, Tivis.
We have a Patreon, which is pretty much just a tip jar, as always. If you got like $1 you wouldn't miss if it fell out of your pocket, send it our way if you don't mind.
Yes.
We also, if you join the Leicester's next big something other investment, you get access to our Discord, where we are putting the episodes up a week in advance for you to enjoy along with us.
Mm-hmm.
Or alternatively, even better for us, is you can tell a friend, leave a review. Just all that stuff helps us way more.
Yes, it does. Definitely, guys. Leave us a review, thumbs up, all that fun stuff. And lastly, we have the Monster Bash, June 16th through the 18th, guys.
Coming up.
It's coming up here soon. So get your tickets if you're in that area. You can find your tickets at the Munster Cast. TheMunsterCast.com/Monster Bash 2023. All the information for that event is there as well, and several of the Munster guys will be there, and a bunch of other horror fan actors and stuff. That's what I'm looking for. We'll be there as well.
There are any local conventions in your area that is similar to this, or that will have any of the Munster cast from any of the iterations,
any generation,
send it to us too, because we would like to know, and we can help spread awareness.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Another thing that you can send us to the email as well. So that's the MunsterCast@outlook.com. All right, Tivis, I think that's good. We're good. Right. We're on a very good time constraint today, guys. Sorry about that. Today we are talking about One Flew Over the Munster's Nest. Aired February 18th, 1989. I don't even know.
That was 2 months off.
I saw that. All right, guys. Let's see if I can do this with my throat. All right. This week on the Munsters Today, the whole house is in shambles as everyone preps for their own night out. Lily ends up sick with the flu, and MARILYN runs away thinking nobody loves her. Is she right, or is she a bratty teen? Find out this week as chaos ensues.
Very different.
I know, but it was funny to me. when I was writing it, Tivis. If you want to write these, you write these. You do your
this
own
is
dumb dad jokes.
real quick information about this episode. Season 1, episode 15, 85 of Munsters overall. It was written by Ann Gibbs, which this is the second of 4. The last one we saw was Magnum Cum Munsters, which still breaks my brain every time I try to say it. And it was directed by Lee Lockhead, this is the second of 9. I'm sorry, third of 9. We previously saw Professor Grandpa and Computer Mating.
Yeah.
And the only guest this week is Dr. Joyce Brothers. I'm pretty sure that's how you as Mrs. Cousins. And it looks like she just did a lot of one-off type characters. I was going through her list last night, and I couldn't find anything she was in long term. I think the most is like a few movies here and there, and then 3 episodes is the max at a time. But she's got a long career. She's got 91 credits, 129 as herself.
Yeah.
She's been on The Love Boat. You've probably seen her. Like, she's all over the Charlie's Angels, Taxi, Chips. Just looking through this. Elf, Naked Gun. Yeah, that's great. I forgot about that. Beverly Hills, or Troop Beverly Hills. That's a new one for me. Married with Children. She was a judge on that. I look forward to getting to that episode. Of course, she voiced on The Simpsons. Who hasn't? Grace Under Fire. The Nanny. Yeah. So long career. I guarantee you will recognize her.
Yeah, definitely. She's been in everything. Like a lot of these people have been, the guests and stuff for any of the Munster shows, really. They just end up everywhere. Alf.
Yeah, I said that one, I think.
Did you? I was reading too, so I didn't hear. I have selective hearing, as we all should. All right, guys, let's dive on into this then. Unless you have more. You don't have more, right?
Nope. Real quick. That was it.
All right. So we open up to...
Yeah, what is Lily doing?
What is Lily doing?
Did you not write that down?
She's like, I didn't write down exactly what she was doing. No.
She's giving the boar a perm.
Is that what she's doing there?
Yeah. Just what a weird way to open the show. I gotta say. Marilyn's like laughing hysterically in the background while on the phone, and Lily's like, "Hey, can you go check on the dragonfly pie for dinner? And don't forget, you got to set the table." I was like, "Hey, all right, I'll do it in a minute." And then she just goes back to laughing.
Yeah.
Eddie comes in, shouts his hi to Marilyn because she's laughing so freaking loud.
Oh, you're on the phone again. This is what he does. Yeah.
Lily sneezes and Eddie begins sniffing the air, which I thought was weird, but no, he smells the pie, and Lily's like, "Oh yeah, I got your favorite ice cream too, Rocky Toad."
Rocky Toad ice cream.
Which Rocky Road, I do love, so I get it.
Maybe you should try some Rocky Toad.
Someone should make that. Should have been promotional with the movie. Lily is getting real impatient with Marilyn, and Marilyn's starts yelling back at her. She's like, "I'm on the phone talking here," and then she just goes back to laughing while contributing absolutely nothing else to the conversation.
And then all of a sudden, boom! An explosion just happens out of nowhere.
And I think this is the first time it's not Grandpa's fault.
Yeah. And
yeah. Well, Eddie comes out of the kitchen covered in what looks like seaweed.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what it was supposed to be, because she this is Eddie tells her what happens, and then she's like, "Marilyn, get off that damn phone right now." Like, what the hell is wrong with you? I told you to take care of this. The funny thing is, she told her to take care of it literally 10 seconds before it happened. So I'm like, it might have happened anyways, Lily.
It wasn't their oven that exploded either. No, she's cooking this pie in a cauldron, she says.
Yeah.
How moist is this pie?
How fat is it?
Yeah. Yeah. MARILYN like mocks Lily, MARILYN do this, MARILYN do that. So Eddie repeats it in another similar mocking way towards MARILYN. It's a great little exchange between the two.
And I love this episode because in this episode you actually get to see MARILYN and Eddie act more like brother and sister than in anything we've seen thus far.
Very similar to the siblings on Married with Children in this one.
Oh yeah. Because in the original series, you really didn't see them interact as like a sibling type thing. It was, it was more like a babysitter role, if anything.
And you know what? I got to say, right now, siding against MARILYN. Little spoiler, I'm never going to side with MARILYN on this episode. You live in a house, you pitch in. That's what I say.
More like bitching. Oh.
So Lily tells Eddie to go sandpaper his nose or something, which sure, whatever. That'll get the seaweed off.
So I was like, I don't know what the stuff is because she's telling him to sandpaper himself. I'm like, don't put sandpaper on your face, but okay.
Yeah, she's just exhausted with a lot of them, and then she sneezes again. And at this point, I'm like, gee, I wonder who's gonna get the flu. So Herman comes home and yells his hello to her. And she's like, thank God you're home. The house has been an asylum. I'm so happy to see you. He's like, I missed it. It's like, I'm so sorry I'm late from work. We were decorating the mortuary for the dance on Friday.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever. Yeah, it's something people do. She wouldn't believe what he had to hang. Are these legal decorations or Thomas Clock III type decorations?
Dude.
She hopes she can.
I don't think everyone's gonna get that one, but okay.
Yeah, she hopes she can finish her new shroud by then, and I have a feeling she won't. Turns out, though, we never find out.
No, yeah,
just gonna let everyone know that little subplot ends here. Herman tells her she will be the most beautiful living woman there. Okay, Herman. What the hell does that mean? This is creepy territory, and yeah. Right. What do you mean the most beautiful living woman there?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, I have in my notes here that you were going to dive into that, but I guess you won't.
I'm not going to go into my
head.
Yeah.
So Grandpa comes up at this point wearing some kind of Shriner's fez. He needs help with his tassel, and Lily's like, "Oh, MARILYN will iron it tonight." Grandpa underlines how important this is since he will be making he will be made president of his local chapter of Save the Bats, which is a great joke.
Yeah.
Herman asks if he will write a speech, but Grandpa says, "Nah, I'll just wing it," and laughs. Again, really good joke right here with the use of the Shriner stuff.
Yeah, I'm surprised Grandpa's a Shriner too.
Yeah.
That one got me. I was like, really? Okay.
Well, Leah Remini's talked a little bit on them, and they aren't so squeaky clean that you think they are. Eddie comes
maybe
running.
Grandpa's part of them so he can feast.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they gave him Save the Bats so he stayed away from Save the Kids. Eddie comes running in with MARILYN saying she's trying to extort him to clean the kitchen or else she will feed his skateboard to Spot. So that's just evil. Spot will eat anything. Lily tells her it's her mess. Go deal with it.
Yeah.
Eddie tells her he will have his revenge. She won't know when, and she won't know how. Doesn't come to pass. I was excited for that to happen. Warning people right now, does not come back around.
There's a few things that just don't come back around.
Which is, this is pretty par for the course with the original show. I'm just a little disappointed it's happening at this one.
And then this is where isn't this where like Marilyn is whining about how she's supposed to go to the play for or not the play the theater to go see Dial M for Murder.
Well, we're gonna get
Okay.
coming up on that, but can I just talk about Eddie's evil laugh in this episode? Like, he was on point.
Yeah, he is.
Oh my god, he was a little menace. Yeah, so yeah, she sits down next to Herman and begins dialing the phone again. Lily sneezes once again, and Grandpa says in Transylvanian, "Blessin' de snaza," which I'm loving the continuity with this, and the fact that I can tell he's speaking Transylvanian now after how many episodes.
Isn't it just Romanian?
I'm sure they don't want to hear that. Officially, probably, but not what he's doing. Lily yells
Snaza is Polish for unexplained.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe it kind of works. I don't know. Yeah, Lily like yells at Marilyn to go clean the kitchen and set the table. Damn it! She's like, "Look, I can't. I promised Dustin I would call him right back." And then after like telling her, "No, go clean now," she's like, "Well, you might as well call me Cinderella," and like storms out of the room. Now we transition to Lily fixing what it looks like Lily's fixing up Herman's shoulder. It turns out she's doing her shroud on him.
Yeah.
Which is nice of him to be the table for her to work on. Marilyn's ironing Grandpa's tassel, and Eddie walks out of the kitchen saying the boar is better looking than his cousin before laughing and jumping over the couch.
Yeah, this is where she chases him out of the room, basically.
Yeah. Grandpa's playing some variation on Monopoly, and he pulls a card that says, "Go directly to the morgue. Do not pass go. Do not send flowers." He loves this game. Lily begins sneezing again, but Herman blocks it with his finger because he's a supportive husband. By the way, his work made the paper. The annual dance's theme is pushing up daisies this year. I feel like that should be every year, but whatever. Grandpa asks why he's so happy about it. Every year he comes home complaining the food stinks and he had to dance with Mr. Graves' mother.
Yeah.
He says this year is different. Last year, Mr. Graves' mother cashed in her employee discount.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it is.
That's a great way of saying, yeah, she died.
Yeah.
or she killed a husband. I mean, her husband might have died and not killed her husband.
No, it sounds like she's gone. Yeah. So Marilyn's like, "Hey, can I get a new dress for the dance with Dustin?" And Lily's like, "No, you already have that unusual bright colored one. Why do you want another one?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, he's already seen that one though." And Eddie tries to help by saying he's seen her face, so a new dress won't help. And this is where she chases him upstairs.
Yeah. He takes off again.
Yeah.
Like I said, the chemistry between those two is like a brother-sister dynamic in this one is so great. It's so great. And it's so realistic too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just being in the room with my three nieces is it's a handful. I can't imagine what it's like in your house to actually live with it.
Well, with what? You mean kids? To live with kids?
Yeah, young siblings.
Oh.
So Lily tells her she can deal with not having a new one. Marilyn leaves the steamer thingy, which I forgot was called an iron at this point in my notes, on the tassel. What? And that's a fire hazard. Yeah, I just left it in there because why not?
The steamer.
I remembered it later on. So.
All right.
She pleads that they're going to the community theater to see Dial M for Murder. One of Grandpa's personal favorites, I might add.
Alfred Hitchcock film, by the way.
Oh, it's real?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the real film. It's from the 50s. It's an Alfred Hitchcock film. It's actually it's a because I own it on, of course I own it because it's Alfred Hitchcock, but Yeah, it's a great film, dude. It's actually based on a play that was put out like a couple years before the movie.
Nice. I
Yeah.
didn't even bother looking it up because I'm like, this is going to be one of their, change the name type things.
No. Dial M for Murder is like a legit film from the 50s. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It predates the Munsters.
So yeah, no wonder Grandpa loves it.
Right.
He was probably, he was around when it first came out. He
Yeah.
probably remembers it. Herman says it's dark, so you don't.
So you don't see each other anyways. Or
Oh,
something.
okay, yeah. I was like, why did I write this?
Something about it's going to be dark in there, so it doesn't matter what you're wearing. So, which I've given that excuse to my wife to tell her it's going to be dark. Just take all your clothes off. Don't mess.
Oh wow.
I can feel.
So Marilyn's like, hey, I got an allowance. Why don't I use that? And Lily's just like, nah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Lily, you can't dictate what she uses her allowance on, but
yeah. Oh, that's not true at all, Tivis. You don't have kids, trust me. Oh, I tell my kids, oh, you're not spending your money on that. You're fucking stupid if you spend your money on
really?
that. Like
I thought once it's theirs, it's their responsibility. If they spend it on something stupid, that's their consequence.
Our kid wanted to spend $70 the other day on Robux. And we're like, no, you're not spending $70 on Robux right now. You can spend 20 of it and just chill out.
Maybe I have to rethink that when we eventually have one.
You can tell, it's a part of teaching them about the
spending responsibilities,
spending limits, spending responsibilities, that you just can't take all your money.
Self-regulation,
something
like that.
Like you can't just take all your money and put it onto one thing just because you want it at that moment, Don't look at any of this.
That's fair. That's a fair lesson.
Don't look at any of this in my office.
Oh, trust me, mine would look the same if I had enough shelf space. You should see the pile in that room.
Yeah.
I
mean, we also charge our kids. We make them file taxes at the end of the year too. So from their chore money.
Well, that's a good thing to teach that, because they barely teach that in school anymore. And that's something
don't
people
teach
need.
That in school. I didn't even learn that in fucking school.
We learned a little bit of it my freshman year of high school, which, after 4 years of being in high school and leaving it, that really helped me 4 years later. Senior year, probably better.
Like, I still remember how to balance a checkbook, and I've talked to friends that are like my age or just a couple years younger, and they're like, what does that mean? because nowadays you have like the bank account, so like everything's all digital. But I'm like, it was a nice thing to be able to just sit down once a week or every month and figure out how much money you actually have left.
I have an Excel spreadsheet of our yearly expenses plus our planned purchases, so I can see how much we have at any given time.
Yeah, we have a spreadsheet set up of like how much we have to pay out every month, which is ridiculous, by the way. So we have that set up so that we know how much the minimum we have to pull in every month just to make ends meet,
Yeah,
and then
that's a good lesson.
It breaks down. Oh man, it sucks. Living sucks. Working to live sucks.
Well, you're also in not a cheap area of Florida either, so.
Yeah, but we don't have state income tax.
You don't?
No.
Huh.
No, we just have federal tax. So that helps. Anyways.
Yeah, we're getting way off topic here. Lily begins to stumble, and Herman's like worried for her. Grandpa rushes over to help, but Herman says, it's my job. And Grandpa's like, hey, why don't you go sit in my chair? Herman's like, no. She needs some Beetlejuice.
They're like pulling her back and forth too. Yeah. And then they both like let her go. And she just like Lily's just like falls to her knees. She's just dying. She's like, ah!
Yeah, Herman's like, she needs Beetlejuice. Grandpa's like, no, she needs to hang upside down in the closet. Herman says, soup from Nate's Deli. And Grandpa's like, no, I'll call them. Herman rushes, saying, "I'm the one who suggested it first." They clearly just want to order food at this point. Meanwhile, like you said, Lily's falling around on the ground.
Yeah. And then as she's on the ground, because Herman takes the phone and stuff from Marilyn storms out of the room, and
she's like,
she looks at Lily on the ground, and she's like, "What? I guess I didn't clean the floors good enough either."
Yeah, when they take the phone from her too, she's like, "Hey, we're studying biology." Which, are you, Marilyn? But Herman like tells Dustin, she's work on your glands somewhere else, because they don't have a normal phone either. It's just like the classic show. They have the hold one piece up to your ear and the other one up to your mouth. Type old style phones,
which they sell those nowadays as like Bluetooth phones for your cell phone. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
I want one so bad for so many dumb reasons.
Of course you do.
Get a coffin and put it in the closet as has it come out with the phone on it. Anyways,
Lily really Marilyn really wants her own phone too. She yells as she's storming off. She's like, "Why can't I have a phone in my room?"
89, they started having they had cell phones. Those
when did they start doing
ones?
split
lines in the house?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you could have done that at that time because like you had like condos or not condos, but duplexes all over the place back then in the 80s. So they had to have split phone lines like that. So they could have, in theory, have done that, give her own line in their bedroom. But then once you give kids that type of freedom, they're always using that.
You can't take it back.
Right.
Well, easily at least.
You can take it back, but then it just causes even more issues. So it's just better to train them well, like a puppy dog.
It's cell phones. I see. I don't. Again, I'm not a parent, and everyone is different. You can parent how you want, but for me personally, I feel like a lot of parents give their kids cell phones way too early.
Way too early. Yeah. Our oldest got one, I think, a year ago now. A year and something like that. And that's just because we're like he was going on dates and stuff. We needed to be able to contact him, and
it's around his age that I think that's when it's appropriate.
Yeah.
With tracking on.
Yeah, we have that.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, Herman gets through to the deli and asks for chicken soup with extra beaks and feathers, but they hang up on it.
Yeah. Oh, and screen time, by the way, on your phones. So he can't use his phone after certain hours unless he's calling just us.
Yeah.
So, anyways, sorry.
Yeah.
Parents moments. Grandpa and Herman are over fighting about this phone.
Yeah.
And then
during the fight,
they just drop the phone and it shatters into like a million pieces. It's like smoking and everything. I'm like, there's no power in a phone like that. like
I don't know if you've ever I don't know how many of our listeners will know this one, but have you ever seen the animated show Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, show. Where they throw objects in their house and they explode for no reason.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
like they'll toss like a pizza box somewhere and it blows up for no reason. Yeah. Okay, I could take that for this one.
Yes. So Lily's like struggling to stand up at this point, and Herman tells her she needs to lay down so she feels better by the dance. Yeah. And Lily says, don't worry, she will be there dead or alive.
Which she's already dead, so.
Well, he called her the prettiest living woman, so right now she's alive. Remember, this goes through cycles. Yeah, Grandpa's died like 3 times.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because they get into that at the end of the episode.
Yeah. Where was? He escorts her to the couch where she requests a blanket and a B-52.
Yeah.
Do you know what a B-52 is?
It's a plane, isn't it?
Well, not this one. This is a medical cocktail, often used as an antipsychotic or sedative. for some reason in entertainment, it's been used to sedate like unruly patients, psych patients and stuff. Like often, I think you see it in Thor even when he's trying to escape the hospital and they give him a shot in his ass.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's it. That's what they call it as B-52.
yeah, well, there's the B-52 and there's also the 52, which is a slightly different. But
because the B-52, when I hear it, I think of the bomber plane.
yeah, that's what I think too. But it's actually rare that they use this. It's not as common as they like to put it on entertainment. And there's been studies on the after effects of this medicine on the person that they're using it on, but unfortunately, because it makes them sleepy, it kind of hinders that study. However, it is noted that there is a slight increase in after effect fever in some cases compared to other drugs that produce similar results. The name B-52 comes from Benadryl, 5 milligrams of haloperidol, and 2 milligrams of lorazepam.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how you get the B-52.
So I'm wondering. So there's like a rock band called the B-52s. I wonder if it's what?
Rock Lobster.
Yeah. Rock Lobster. Yeah. I wonder if they named it that based off of the drug. Because you know how rock bands, a lot of them did stuff like that back in the day.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is a sedative. It's not so much a fun.
Well, no, like, yeah, like a sedative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Slows you down. I don't know what. Yeah, I don't fucking know, Tivis.
Yeah, so that's my only trivia note for this episode.
Okay. All right. So then Herman and Grandpa, or Lily's on the couch, and Herman and Grandpa are walking around, and they just smash into each other, which like shakes the whole house, and Lily falls off the fucking couch. She just like falls right, like rolls right off of it.
I just want a blanket.
And she like puts her hand up like she's like dead. It like Terminator style almost without the thumb.
Yeah.
It's just like and then Grandpa and Herman go over and pick her butt up by her ankles and wrists. Don't pick people up by their wrists, please.
We got to stay more on topic. Yeah. I was just looking at the yeah, Herman's like, hey, I'm gonna go next door to get Dr. Cutter. And I'm like, wait. He's your neighbor? But I think based on wording later on in the episode, he talks about going to use the neighbor's phone again. So I think he went there to call Dr. Cutter.
Yeah.
Which I really hope we see this guy.
Yeah, because we keep referring to him.
Yeah, come on. Grandpa says, who needs him? He will go, he's going to go look through his medical books in the lab. And Herman swears to find a cure before Grandpa does. And they both leave Lily just on the couch without a blanket or medicine.
Yep. MARILYN comes in, starts whining again.
Oh, she whines so much.
So much, dude. She starts yelling at Lily, even though Lily's like sick. Lily's telling her, look, you can't go because we need you to watch Eddie.
Yeah, well, she's like, look, we need to prepare for our date Friday night. She's like, you can't go on a date Friday.
Yeah.
We're going to the dance, and Grandpa's will be with the Bat Pack.
Play on the Rat Pack back in the day.
Yeah, she like screams. She's like, she never gets to have any fun. And I kind of feel like this scene is a little bit meta in regards to how she was almost literally just a background character in the original show.
Maybe. Yeah. And she's always treated like lesser of the family. I think that's meta for the whole episode, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's over there yelling about. She's like, I never get to do anything. And my big thing is, why does Eddie need to be babysat?
Well, I mean, would you trust him alone in your house?
He's older now, and they always leave him alone. He's always by himself all the time.
What do you mean? Grandpa's always home. Remember, he doesn't have a date anymore.
Home or not. Being home and being present are two different things.
At least if the house is on fire, Grandpa will probably notice.
Not if he's in the basement. It don't matter.
It's true. You know
Anyways,
they don't have any smoke detectors.
no. If they did, they'd be going off all the time.
Oh yeah.
So then Lily notices that the iron is still on
Yeah.
Grandpa's
Tesla's.
tassels, and she like freaks out, and she's like, "Oh, Marilyn!" And she moves it off of there, and she's
It's
like,
coming apart in her hands.
she says, "Grandpa's going to shed fur over this."
Yeah.
At first, the way I had to double take and rewind because I thought she said, "Grandpa's going to shit fur over this," because she just says it like just in a way that I'm like, "Does she say shed or shit?" And I'm like, "Okay, double take."
Oh man, it is. Yeah. I knew that was going to be a problem when she left it there. I
Yeah,
did not expect it to take that long for it to come back around because I almost forgot about it by this point.
I think that was the point. Is it was supposed to be a long burn.
Yeah.
Get it? Long burn.
So now we're in the lab. Grandpa's making some concoction and he yells at Leonard for getting into the lizard tonsils again.
Leonard.
Marilyn rushes down wanting to talk to him, but Grandpa says, look, I'm too busy right now. Marilyn says this is important, but Grandpa's like, look, when you're 16, everything is important. So we have confirmation she's not in college after all. She's
Yeah,
still in high
high school.
school. And he goes, by the time you're 199, some things are and some things aren't. Most aren't. Now go away, I'm busy. And he finds a remedy that calls for frog sweat. So he tells Leonard to get the frogs and he's fetching the jogging suits.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Eddie is finally being the one to help Lily by giving her a blanket and what I thought was mustard wrap for her forehead, but it turned out to just be a washcloth that yeah.
Has swamp goo on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Marilyn like sneaks down the stairs and sticks this pink piece of paper on Spot's collar, which is hanging on the banister of the stairs.
Yeah.
And then sneaks out of the house. And that's when Lily's like, hey, go to the moat and get me more slime. So Eddie spots the note because it's bright pink and it's totally out of place. Marilyn ran away. This seems really similar to the story where Eddie ran away a little bit here.
Yeah.
Not much else kind of resembles that except for this portion right here.
Yeah, she didn't care about being eaten by cannibals or anything like that.
Yeah, Eddie wanted it to happen, remember?
Yeah.
Speaking of Eddie, he is extremely happy about this change of events.
We come back from like the cut
Commercial.
for commercial, and Marilyn or Lily is reading Marilyn's note, and Eddie is just like super happy about all of this. He's like he basically is like, I'm gonna get her room. Sweet, awesome.
Yeah, well, he does his howl here with she's out of her mind, and the howl absolutely breaks his voice. It cracks so bad during it. So she tells Eddie to call for Grandpa, and he's like, hey, yeah, so I'm gonna have her room, right? Grandpa, of course, rushes up from downstairs. He's like, hey, I've got some age-old advice. Feed a cold, starve a fever, which everyone should know is totally BS and only weakens your immune system, by the way. Don't do that. Herman returns from Dr. Cutter, which more and more I'm thinking he was on the phone with Dr. Cutter, not actually the neighbor, with advice on what to eat. And I bet it's the ageless chicken soup, which actually does boost your immune system. He slams down, causing
don't tell
Lily
vegans that.
Well, it's the broth, really. You don't have to eat the chicken, but the broth.
It's the war. Yeah. They still won't eat the broth though. It's chicken broth.
Yeah, well, I mean, do what you got to do, I guess. Yeah, Herman like slams down on the couch and it causes both Eddie and Lily to bounce. Lily gives Herman the letter and he loves the penmanship. And look at the little hearts above the eyes. Grandpa snatches it away to actually read it as Lily explains, Marilyn ran away.
Again.
So Herman's like, what? When? How? Why? Where? Well, Grandpa just happens to answer all of these. Run away? Just now. On foot? Unloved? Who knows?
Yeah.
I love that little exchange. I don't know why. Herman says there's only one thing to do. And Lily asks what it is, but he sits back down, causing them to bounce again. And he's like, well, I was hoping you do. Why did you speak up? Grandpa blames himself. She only comes down to the lab when she really needs to talk to someone, and he didn't even give her the time. Eddie starts to feel bad, or so I think, and goes to search her room for clues. Boy, I was wrong about this note.
Eddie was just prepping her room.
He was.
He was just like, how can I take off this pink wallpaper the easiest?
Yeah. Grandpa tells Herman to go use the neighbor's phone again to call her friends. So this is what clued me in that maybe Dr. Cutter isn't their neighbor.
Yeah.
He will swoop around town. Lily is to stay home in case she comes back. And Eddie comes back down talking about how he can't wait to move in and tear down the pink wallpaper. I gave you too much credit, Eddie. Just too much credit. Grandpa tells everyone to look alive, and then gets disgusted with himself before batting out and searching. Which I love, because he does like the reverse of the when he comes out, he's like doing
yeah. He starts to do it, and then boof. And then we go over to where Marilyn's at. Yep. And Marilyn is sleeping in the school somewhere. Counselor. We don't know exactly yet. Well, I guess we see a sign in their room, right?
Yeah, well, I was trying to read it, but it was real hard. But she confirms it's definitely the counselors.
It'd be easier if Universal would remaster these and put them out.
Up the quality.
Anyways, so Marilyn's in there, and the counselor actually comes on in. He's like, "Hey, so what's up?" Like,
you'll never guess what happened last night. Oh, did you run away? I don't want to talk about it. Then she proceeds to talk about it and complain constant.
Apparently the janitor let Marilyn in too.
Oh, is that what happened? I missed that part because I have a note here saying, so we are just not even going to talk about how she broke into the school or your office.
Well, the counselor says, the guy let you in, didn't he, last night? And that throws all kinds of bells and whistles. And I'm like, 16-year-old girl late at night at the school, and some weird janitor dude's letting her in. Okay. Definitely the 80s.
Yep. Yeah. So, as Marilyn's complaining about how they don't understand her, Mrs. Cousin says it sounds like they're still living in the 70s, which, come on. Who was the writer again? Anne, what's wrong with you? It should have been the 60s. That was such an easy joke to make.
Well, that's not necessarily true because we don't know when.
They said 20 years.
20 years? That would be, 69, I guess.
Yeah.
But we don't know how long they've been out of there. And no, they said 21 years. Just 21 years, I thought. But we don't know how long they've been out of their sleep chambers for. Because they really don't, besides the
This is set in the 80s.
Well, yes, it's set in the 80s at the moment.
Well, but we see the pilot. They see Reagan's inauguration.
I know that, but we don't know how, like, if they've been there for a year or two or not, Well,
I'm just saying they act like they're still in the 70s. It should be they act like they're from the 60s. That's when they show what.
Okay, 69 and 70s are about the same, okay? It's not that big of a difference.
Yeah, it's the joke that
it's not like 2019 and 2020 difference, but
Anyway, so the worst part is she just doesn't fit in, and Mrs. Cousin asks her what she thinks she should do. Marilyn doesn't know. How am I supposed to know? You're the guidance counselor.
Back at home, Herman walks into the door, And Marilyn or Lily's like, "Hey, what's the news? Did you
Well,
get any news?"
oh, you
Did I
skimmed
skip
over
Eddie?
Grandpa using this giant
Yeah.
unwieldy device to measure Lily's temperature instead of a simple thermometer, which, you know, of course, those used to be filled with mercury and could really damage you. He's like, you're 25.6 degrees, almost normal, but you should still rest. Lily can't until she knows Marilyn's safe. And then Eddie comes in and she asks if he's seen anything, if he and Spot had any luck. And Eddie's like, oh, absolutely. Couldn't find a trace.
And then he walks
Lily's like,
away.
yeah, she like scolds him and he's like, I'm going to go check the backyard,
Yeah.
laughing hysterically.
Then Herman walks on in. And
Yep.
Lily's like, "Did you hear any news?" And Herman starts like giving this like news report, like an
with
old
background
school,
music, like the
yeah,
breaking news bulletin.
like the old timey news stuff. I'm like, what is going on here? It's like, okay,
Yeah, Capitol Hill negotiations have resumed. But she like cuts him off. And I tried to find a reference to this, but I couldn't. It could be a reference to the Cold War, or it could be budget cuts. That both of those things were happening around there.
yeah,
Budgets are happening every freaking year. So it could be anything. She wants to know about, she's like, no, Marilyn. He's like, well, did the police call back? And Grandpa didn't finish fixing the phone. So Grandpa goes over and connects the two wires to make it start working. And the phone begins to ring immediately. And Herman's like, huh, how fortuitous timing. He doesn't say that because he's Herman, but so he picks it up and Grandpa's struggling this entire time that he's on the phone, trying to hold the wires together.
yeah.
Herman says they're indeed looking for their niece, but not any woman will do. She has to be blonde, he uses the receiver to, sorry, I hit the mic,
Yeah.
To measure the height. Nobody on the phone can hear. It's about that high. And Lily's like, give me the phone.
Yeah.
Grandpa like continues to follow the phone. He's like bent awkwardly over the couch, keeping the connection going. It's Mrs. Cousin telling them she has Marilyn. Herman begins rushing out to get her, but then stops. He's worried. What if she doesn't want to come home? What if she doesn't love them anymore? And Grandpa goes, what if she dies of old age before you get her?
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. Which I'm curious because it looks like we cut back to Mrs. Cousin's office and it looks like they haven't moved. So I wonder, because when Mrs. Cousin originally comes in, she's got a bagel and pours some drink for Marilyn. So I wonder if she noticed Marilyn sleeping there, called the family, got her some food, and then came back to wake her up.
Maybe.
Yeah. So
it's always hard to tell.
Yeah. She tells Marilyn.
Go on.
Well, she's like, hey, what you're feeling is pretty typical. Those are normal feelings. Then Herman walks in and Mrs. Cousin tells Marilyn, forget everything I said. Run for your life.
Yeah. She's like, just run for your life.
Yeah. Oh,
that's so funny.
Herman's like, wow, she's so tense and so fast. And Marilyn's like, she doubles as the gym teacher. But I'm willing to bet personally that she gets paid half of what she should for doing one of those jobs because teacher.
And then this is where we get like our moment.
Heart.
Yeah, heart-to-heart moment for this episode, which is kind of cool because that's the one thing a lot of people always forget is like when people think about the Munsters, the original Munsters, they always think about those heart-to-heart moments. But I'm like, those were like almost gone in season 2. Like,
season 2 was pretty much nothing but Lily thinking Herman's cheating on her and this and that.
So yeah. So it's kind of cool to see them integrate those like heart-to-heart moments here and there in these episodes every so often, because we had one where when Eddie was on steroids, or not steroids, but whatever Grandpa gave him. Yeah,
they were steroids. Let's be real.
So, and we've had them a few episodes here and there, so it's pretty cool to see this one too, because this one really felt like it needed to be done, not just for the episode, but for every Maryland fan out there who's like, Maryland always gets picked on. Well, this is kind of,
yeah, and we kind of got that a little bit in the classic as well with that episode where Marilyn gets trapped in her bedroom and the guy has to scale the wall. Yeah. We see a little bit of Herman, it's like, look, I really care about you and I just want you to be happy. It wasn't a lot, but it was a little bit. And I really appreciate them kind of going back to that and building upon it here in this scene. Cause he's like, look, I got she's like, he goes, why did you run away? And she goes, well, everyone's always picking on me. He goes, well, let me tell you a story here.
Yeah. And this is when he tells a story about went back in the old country.
Yeah, once upon a time in Transylvania.
Yeah.
He felt like everyone was picking on him. The villagers would chase him with torches, try and set him on fire, threw rocks at him. It was a drag. One night he was walking the morgue, there stretched out on a grave. Catching some moon rays was Lily. They met, fell in love, and got married. Along came Eddie, and then you joined. And that's when we became what is called a family.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that was a nice little... I also noticed he didn't mention Grandpa at all in that. He's like, look,
Grandpa was the baggage from the marriage.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And she's like, no. He's like, no one ever does.
Which it actually made a lot of sense. I feel like just not in the sense of like what he was saying, but it made sense for the episode because it's showing, look, we care about you. Your family is everyone's family. Everyone has to contribute too within the house. So when we're telling you to do this or to do this, you have to. Family is a give and take. We're not. We give so much for you already, but what do you put back into the family kind of thing? And these are the things that you contribute. You help watch Eddie. You help do some of the household chores and stuff like that. And for that, we pay for the phone bill for you to call your boyfriend 100 billion times a day. So it was a kind of a cool little moment, which I enjoyed. So
yeah. He's like, well, let me put it a different way then. And he thinks on it for a second. He goes, we each have responsibilities in our families, and that means sometimes doing things you don't want to do. She begins listing some examples, and Herman mentions ironing Grandpa's tassel, and she's like, oh no, the iron. And he's like, So you're going to hear about that. So he wants her to understand that when they criticize her, it doesn't mean they don't love her. She says she's been a jerk, and he says, well, she's in luck. In their family, everyone is entitled to act like a jerk once a year, except him, who can do it once a day. And from my perspective, that's probably because he isn't so much a jerk as just a bit off. And they hug it out.
I'm not a jerk. I'm a bit off too. I'm not a jerk. I'm just a bit off.
So Herman brings Marilyn home, and
I like Lily to stir the pot. Sorry.
Is so all right. And Lily is so happy to see her.
Yeah.
Marilyn was like, I'm so sorry. And Lily says they may have been a bit harsh on her. And Marilyn asks if that means she can go out Friday. And Lily looks a bit sad at this. No, you still got to watch Eddie. But maybe Dustin can come over here to help. It feels like the look Lily gives her is saying nudge, nudge, wink, wink. And Marilyn loves this idea. Herman sits down and is like, yeah, Eddie can chaperone you. And then he sits down to Lily and goes, yeah, everything too.
Yeah.
So, okay, you looked concerned there for a second.
Oh, because you were freezing up on my end for a second. I was like, oh.
Okay. Sorry.
All right.
So, yeah, Eddie comes down, and he's so unhappy to see Marilyn. He tells her he was busy preparing the move into her room, and she asked if he touched any of her stuff. He's like, no, I was too busy reading your diary. And she goes to break the phone over his head. He's like, look, chill. I'm joking.
Yeah.
He then says that he is happy that she's back, and he walks away. And then Marilyn notices the phone is broke.
And
It looks like she's about to cry.
Yeah.
So
it's not that
now
big
we
of a
get
town. She could have
the
just
ending
walked
to
to
the
her
episode.
boyfriend's.
Yeah, well,
It's
that's
not
what
a
she
big
was going to
town.
do earlier.
Yeah. But she
Before
was
she
just
got into
walked to
that
the
fight
school.
with Lily.
All right. So then, yeah, we cut back out
Yeah.
to the final end scene where we see Herman is literally just blowing tissues. Like,
Yep. And Grandpa's got a cauldron in his lap where he's breathing vapors from it.
Yeah.
Like a humidifier or whatever they call those.
Yeah.
Which my wife swears by, but it just makes me feel even more stuffed up. Lily comes in saying, "Look, it sounds like you're catching my flu." And Grandpa's like, "Catching? I already have it."
Yeah. And then
Herman's
Herman,
like, "I got it."
yeah, Herman's like, I got it first.
I got it worse. I'm at death's door. I've already been there. Lily walks over to Marilyn, who's setting the table. She looks like we have two little boys to nurse.
Yeah, and they keep just going back and forth about who's the sickest and who is there for. And I'm like,
yeah, Herman's wasting so much tissue.
Oh yeah, so many tissues. Oh, because he's not even really putting it in his nose. He's literally just every single one too. It's just a one tissue every time he blows. Like, oh, Herman.
Final thoughts.
I enjoyed this episode. I really liked it. Seeing them do a little bit more with MARILYN. We get to see a little storyline with her, which is cool, which kind of helps cure some mishaps that the original series did with MARILYN a lot of the times. We definitely get to see her opening up, which is cool. So see how she actually feels, kind of like we did in the one Munster movie where we just felt really bad for her because
the Munster Go Home.
Yeah.
Or Go Home Munsters or whatever.
She was like psychologically just damaged from being told she's ugly all the time from the Munster family.
Oh my god, yeah.
So yeah, it was nice to see this one. I enjoyed it, and I like some of the references that they did within the episode, especially like Dial M for Murder. When I heard that, I was like, sweet. So yeah. What did you think, dude?
I think Lee is in the running for my favorite director of this series.
Okay.
I mean, between this and Computer Mating, like these are solid episodes, and Anne does such a good job writing them too. Because again, this is another example of them taking one of the classic ideas of Eddie's going to run away and putting a spin on it to where Marilyn's running away and kind of the teenage angst and stuff like that.
Right.
We finally, as you said, we finally get a heart-to-heart of Herman and MARILYN. It feels like, as annoying as she was in this episode, it really feels like this was needed because of how her character has been treated for so long by the franchise.
Yeah. And it was well earned too within the episode. I think it didn't feel like it was a forceful meta thing.
No,
it felt like it could have been a meta thing, but at the same time, it was very well done within the episode to not be like, oh, they just pushed that into there. So I enjoyed that part for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this was a really fun one for me. I'm gonna tell you what, dude. When we finish season 1 and we got to make our top 5, this is gonna be difficult for me.
Wait, we gotta make a top 5.
Who said that's what? So we said, didn't we do that for the original show?
I don't think so. I remember.
Think we did.
Okay. So do you want to tell us what we're doing next week, dude?
Next week we are talking green-eyed Munsters. Which could be anything.
Munsters. Yeah, definitely. I think that's all I got. That's it. Yeah. Don't forget to leave us a review, guys. And definitely check out the Monster Bash June 16th through the 18th. Just go to themunstercast.com/monsterbash 2023 and can find out all the information there for that. Tivis, my man, this was a fast one. I think we were on time constraint. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, more so than we were last week.
Yeah.
Shockingly.
Yeah. So with that said, Tivis, any final words today, my man?
So we're nearing the getting close to the end of season 1, and I am from what I heard in the Facebook groups, season 2 and 3 of this show is even better. So I can't wait.
Awesome. That's kind of cool to hear, because I'm looking forward to watching all this stuff, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you want to get on the show, talk with us about the Munsters, 60s show, any of the movies, anything that we've already
Mini
talked
Munsters.
about. Yeah, as long as it's something that we've already talked and watched, that way we can refer to it. Because like with the Munsters Today, me and Tivis brand new to this stuff, so we're literally watching.
New to us, so
yeah, our reaction that you guys get on the show is our reaction in like real time of watching it. It's not like a reaction after 10 years or something like that. So definitely hit us up if you guys want to talk about any of that stuff, guys, or just join us on Discord through the Patreon, and we can talk about Munsters all day long on there.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, with that said, guys, we will catch you next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly, or handsome, like your father. Or you can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.